Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Coach Cruise, and we're back. It's Tuesday, as we always come on Tuesday here, and we got a topic today. And there's sometimes, I kid you not, I'm thinking about a topic all the way up till the day of. I think I thought of this one yesterday, and it has it has a lot to do with an upcoming video that I'm going to do. But why you should book your excursions through a cruise line and why a lot of people don't. And I'll tell you right now, I'm one of those people that doesn't always do it. In fact, I probably err on the side of booking through outside vendors more than I do the cruise lines. And some people that would be critics of that might be laughing at me and saying, see, that's what happens when you book outside the cruise line. What happened to you in Aruba is why I would never book outside of the cruise line. But there's a go around even for that. And we will get into that discussion, in just a bit here. And I have 5 compelling reasons, though, why you should book through the cruise line. And then a bonus of if you like to book through the cruise line, not only will I give you, the reasons why that's such a good idea, but I'm also going to give you a way to get some free onboard credit for doing what you wanted to do anyway. It'll just take a little bit of research on your part. And of course, I have Zoe here, and she had requested that we bring the pup cups back. So she's hoping to get a couple pup cups from people. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, anybody that does a $10 super chat or more, Zoe gets a treat. These are usually her favorites, these little shish kebab things. As you see, she's already asking for one. And no, you don't get it yet. But if anybody does a $15 super chat, not only does Zoe get a treat, but I get one as well. And right now, that is Buffalo Trace, which is a great bourbon, especially if you're going to do a shot or something. So, and then here, I just got some plain old Coke Zero in my Coach Cruise cup. But let me say hello to everybody. Let's see who got on the podium this week. And look at that. This might be Mandy's first gold. I don't remember you getting the gold before, but Mandy was the first to check in. Says, hey, Coach, just got off the Legend on Saturday. And I've been on over 50 Carnival cruises. So there's a good chance I've been on the Legend. But if I have, it's been so long that I don't remember. I'd have to go back through my cruise, that I've been on, and it gives you that information. So I'm going to have to check that out. But I've heard really good things about the Legend. So, Mandy, what did you think? And then we have Rick, the Texas cruiser, down in Galveston, saying, evening, folks. And I will be down there in just a month from now. I think I'm at the 31-day mark, and Zoe is getting super anxious right now. So the Texas Cruiser has the silver medal, and Sandy, the Lost Pirate Jenkins, gets on the podium with the bronze, and Seg 183 just off the medal stand fourth. Then we have our very own Erin. Admin Erin is here, as she usually is. I know she's been busy working with some fundraisers and things, and baking a lot of goodies to help raise money for big sisters and such. So good job in doing that, and glad that you took a break from all that to hang out with us. All right, so Sean is here once again. Sean Abel says, hi, guys, and what's going on, Sean? Trisha Nichols is back, and Trisha and Bert, you all are on a cruise, or you just got off a cruise, or you're about to get on a cruise. I know you got a cruise that just happened, or is about to happen, or maybe is currently happening. But I see Trisha is here as well, along with Bert. Ken Pascal is here once again. Good to see you, Ken. Hot Tea is back. Good to see you, Hot Tea. Been a minute. Chris Moss back once again. We got Amy McConnell. That is Admin Aaron's sister there. And Zoe is about to knock the whole show off. What are you doing? She's about to knock the whole computer off there. And we got Admin Tim. There he is. Admin Tim is here. I know he was out and about today, Getting some good lunch. Michelle B., the ship wanderer, is here. And whatever floats your boat is back. Good to see you all. Ben is here. Tony Scott and Zoe's got me super nervous because she almost knocked off the computer. So sorry if I'm a bit distracted right now. Marjorie Ambroise, your last name is tough for me. Ambroise? Did I say Ambroise? I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Texas Cruiser says, I have Buffalo Trace already in my bourbon glass. All right. Well, I plan on getting into that. And it looks like Sherry is going to help me do that. But let me mark you down here. The Texas Cruiser gets us started today. We have CLTV and Chris Moss from last week, CLTV 1 through 15, who is on the John Heald for Fun's Sake cruise, along with Chris Moss 16 through 30. And then now starting off this week, the Texas Cruiser gets us numbers 31 through 35. And look at this. We got Sherry and Jay Bell once again with a very super chat, 36 through 85, and that is super awesome. Will G's got some Eagle Rare. Well, I have some Eagle Rare too. I haven't opened it yet. We're going to save that one because the Eagle Rare is a little tougher to come by. So I have my little Coach Crew shot glass that could probably use a little washing here. And Sherry, you are going to get one happy pup over here. So you want a pup cup? Come here. Oh, yeah, that was exciting. Come on up here. Come on. All right. Big high five for Sherry and Jay. And what do you say? She says thank you. And I'm going to let her start with this here, but it's going to take her a minute. So we're going to go ahead and set that on the floor and let her get the floor all dirty. All right. So thank you so much for that, Sherry and Jay and Texas Cruiser, for your earlier super chat. And now we are rolling. All right. So Will G's got the good stuff out. He's drinking the Eagle Rare tonight. Jeff Bauer is here. What's going on, Jeff? Emmanuel Bizarre. I hope I pronounced that right. I should probably just stick to first names and quit trying to pronounce second names and all. Amy, maybe the 4th, 5th, or 6th icon will be in Texas. Very cool. Sherry's saying hello to everybody. Cheryl, Rim Tim's wife, is here. All right, we're talking about the Royal Caribbean ships. Chris Moss is back, and you know what? I think Chris just put us over to 100. And check this out. We're going to do a shirt drawing before the show even really gets rolling. We have CLTD, who, like I said, is on the For Fun's Sake cruise with John Heald on the Carnival Magic. Chris Moss has numbers 16 through 30. The Texas Cruiser started us off tonight, 31 through 35. Sherry and Jay, 36 through 85. And then Chris Moss capped it off. I think we're going to give away at least 2 shirts today because we're already about to give away 1. All right. You see the time says 7:08 up there. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. Oh, my goodness. I think that's the first ever 100. And guess what? Since Chris Moss was the last one, obviously, he's numbers 86 through 100. So, Chris Moss, you want another shirt? You can get one the traditional style. It's the one I have on now, or the new style, the new design, and which will be getting its first send-off on the Carnival Jubilee when everybody has those on for the bar crawl. But yeah, congratulations and thank you, CLTV, Chris Moss, Texas Cruiser, Sherry and Jay Bell, and congratulations, Chris, for winning the shirt. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think we're finally ready to go here. Okay. So let's see. Oh, Chris, I forgot to give Zoe her treat here. So we will do the pup cup once again. Make sure this comes out here. And you see, high five and congratulations to Chris Moss. And what do you say? She says thank you. All right. And she's getting to go on that. And we'll get going on the show. All right. So, as a lot of you saw, it's been one of my more popular videos lately. Aruba. Aruba was a big giant mess. And for anybody that doesn't know, let me refresh your memory or let you in on what that story was all about. As Zoe continues to try to wreck the show. Aruba, we had booked through Viator. And Viator, a lot of people have heard of Viator. Nobody's really thought anything bad about Viator or said anything bad. I swear, Zoe is determined to wreck this show. Either if it's knocking off the computer or banging the shot glass up against metal, she's determined. So booked through Viator and found what I thought was a reasonable rate. You know, they say if it's too good to be true, it probably is. I mean, it wasn't like an insanely good deal, but it was a good deal, you know, especially for Aruba. I think it was like $80 for 4 hours of snorkeling, and that was supposed to include a lunch and an open bar. So, you know, seemed like a pretty good deal, especially when you compared that to the cruise line that was offering like, you know, 3 hours or less for, you know, $30 or $40 more. So we thought, okay, that's a pretty good deal. And I had booked through outside vendors. And like I said, Viator is not somebody I'd normally book through unless it was something like Paradise Beach and Cozumel, something along those lines. Well, they give you a whole list of, you know, directions and how to get there and where you meet up. And, you know, that you'll have to have, you know, you pay in advance and this and that. So we did all that. And long story short, we get to the place where we're supposed to meet. And we talk to some people and they say, yeah, we think these guys went out of business. Well, I went to the place where we were supposed to meet and I said, hey, is this the snorkeling excursion? Yes, it is. Great. Let me go get the rest of my group. It was 10 a.m. It was at the pier we were supposed to get on. And they said they were the snorkeling 10 a.m. excursion. So we're like, fine. We jump on the boat. They don't ask any questions. It was only 11 of us total, 5 people that were already on the boat and the 6 of us. So we figured, well, you know, at least I figured, well, I guess we were supposed to have 11 and they counted 11. So they said, okay, we're good. Let's go. And we, you know, get out there and then we start to enjoy the excursion. And basically the captain after a while says, who'd you book this excursion through? I explained to him. They say, you're on the wrong excursion. And then he tries to upcharge us and charge us. Well, this is supposed to be $1,000. We'll give you a break, give it to you for 600. And I'll say, well, you can give us a you know, ride back to the dock. We're not paying that. Well, we did end up giving them like $150 cash for the trouble and the little bit of the excursion we got to experience. But when we got there, there was a guy and he was, I guess he was the owner of the boat or something like that. And he said, well, you know, let me talk to you. And he's like, I want some money from you or whatever. And we had actually offered to pay the $80 per person that we were going to pay through the, you know, other company if they wanted to do that. And they refused. You know, they wanted more money. And I said, oh, well, that's why we got dropped off. We gave your captain, you know, a bunch of cash for the little bit of time we were on there. And that's it. So he calls the cops on us. And you know, after he chases us through the Aruba streets for a while. And I have a whole video on this. If there's a few of you out there that haven't seen this, go into my video library and you'll see me standing with a couple cops, you know, on the thumbnail there. That's the one you want to click on to watch. But the cops, we explained this whole story to them and they're like, okay, you guys didn't do anything wrong. This guy's nuts. We're sorry he's bothering you. You guys are free to go. We'll deal with this nutcase over here. And they proceeded to get him off to the side and basically tell him to, you know, scram, go beat it. And so that was our big experience, which obviously wasn't a good one. To me, it was kind of hilarious because I mean, I knew, you know, we hadn't done anything wrong. It was an incredible amount of miscommunication, misunderstanding, bad, you know, management on their part, and you know, an out of a company that went out of business that was probably trying to scam some free money through Viator as their cover or something like that. So, for all those reasons, many people could say this is why you book through the cruise line. So you don't have anything like that happen. And that was an excellent reason and why I can't fault people for feeling that way. All right, PJ Cody is saying troublemaker. Yeah. And PJ was on that very ship that he was on the same cruise, not that excursion, but he was on there and we got to hear about it close up. All right. So let me just go through the comments here. Oh, wow. Will G got some Eagle Rare for only $36 a bottle. That is great. Trisha Burt stocked up on Woodford Reserve on the Sunshine. Very nice. Out here in 29-degree weather, Texas Cruiser. Well, J&T Adventures got you beat. It was -3 here in Chicago this morning. I think we're up to a whopping 12 degrees right now. Well, it's probably cooled off a little bit. Will says it's usually about 42, the Eagle Rare. You can't even find it anymore up here, Will. So, 42 I'd happily pay. Texas Cruiser. I got turned on to Buffalo Trace by a bartender, Harmony's Pub. Yeah, Buffalo Trace is a great bourbon, reasonably priced. And Texas Cruiser much prefer to book excursions through the cruise ships, less worry. Yes. Yeah, and Erin, obviously, she was on that excursion with me, and I know it bothered other people in my party more than it bothered me. But as I just had a discussion with Erin regarding this, because she had asked me what the show was going to be about today, and she did express to me that that really bothered her, and I said, but why? If you know that you're right about something, through and through, like there's no shadow of a doubt about it, it shouldn't bother you. Like, it's the ones that you're not sure of. If you're in an argument with somebody, you might feel bad about that. But the guy was hassling us and, chasing after us and everything. So, I can certainly understand why it would be bothersome to some people, but I was laughing about it as soon as we walked away from the police and they said, you guys are free to go and everything. And it's something I'll continue to kind of laugh about. And, it'll be a good story for years to come. But, I could see where it'd be a little bit troublesome to somebody. And then not only that, but it will definitely make you want to make sure those I's are dotted and those T's are crossed for a future excursion, things, especially if it's with an outside vendor. Okay, so, bus duty, 3 degrees, -7 wind chill. That's rough. Yeah. Okay, so let's go through some of these reasons why people choose to book through the cruise line. Okay, the most obvious one, I think, the number one reason that people choose to not book through outside vendors is the cruise line goes and tells you this all the time, and they want to scare you. They want to scare you because they want you to purchase only through them. And they tell you you're guaranteed not to miss the ship if you book an excursion through us. So in other words, if, the boat on your snorkeling tour breaks down or something along those lines, and, you have to call a ship, we're not going to leave you until everybody's back on the boat. And that is very reassuring. Absolutely very reassuring. And, I can't fault anybody for that. Another reason I thought of, because, I go on Carnival, as most of you know, most of the time, and I'm looking at their excursions all the time, especially if it's a place that I've done the same excursion a lot of times and, I want to do something different. I'll be checking them out, and I'm always looking at the reviews. And that's something you can see firsthand. And you can see that on some of the other sites, especially if you book through Expedia or somebody like that. They'll have a lot of the excursions reviewed for you. But on Carnival, it has them rated, the highest rated ones, how many people rated it. People will write up the reviews that they went on the excursion and things like that. And you get a good idea whether it's going to be, good or not. And that's important because, if you're only getting, say, 3 port days, sometimes 4 port days, and if it's a shorter cruise, you might only get a couple, right? Um, you want to make sure that that day you spend is a good one when you're in port. So it's really important to read the reviews and do something you feel that you're going to have a lot of fun with. So, the reviews are important and you get to see those when you book through the cruise line. Something I find that is a big perk to booking through the cruise line as well is you get to meet people from the ship, right? If you're booking through the cruise line, then pretty much everybody is going to be, with you on the ship. So if you meet some really cool people on your excursion, then those might be some lifelong friendships that you developed. And you met somebody, on an ATV excursion or a snorkeling excursion or a sunset dinner cruise or whatever the case may be. You might have a lot of fun with them, or heck, maybe it's some all-inclusive beach. I don't know, but you might have a lot of fun and make a real friendship there. So that's another reason you could book with the ship and feel good about it. Now, here's one that I think is an overlooked one, but it's a big one because the thing about booking through the cruise line is your excursion will meet in port. And if it doesn't meet in port, you just have a short ride or a short walk to, a parking lot or something where they have transportation ready for you to, go off on your excursion. If you book with an outside vendor, oftentimes you have to leave the port area, find a taxi or find the shuttle, in an outside area where these vendors are waiting for you to be, picked up out there. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a walk. I know, like in Roatan, for example, that's one of the stops on the next place we're going. And the outside vendors, it's a hefty little walk to get out there. Amber Cove, another really long walk to get to the outside vendors, if you book through an outside vendor there. So, yeah, that can be definitely a big perk in booking through the cruise line is that, your transportation and your accessibility to that excursion are right there. And then another thing I think is overlooked is one of the great things I tell people about booking cruises is it's kind of like a Santa saver type of thing. Those bank accounts where, you used to save up all year so you'd have money at Christmas time to buy a bunch of gifts and things like that. Well, that's kind of how a cruise works, right? You can book a cruise 2 or 3 years in advance and, you can save a little bit a month, have a little bit of money deducted from your bank account or whatever. And so by the time the cruise actually comes up, it is all paid for. You're all ready to go. You get to just get and enjoy it. Well, if you buy an excursion through the cruise line, you have to pay for that in advance and it's already paid for. It's done. No worries. A lot of times if you book with an outside excursion, you have to put a deposit down and you'll pay for that with the credit card. And then you have to pay the remaining balance in cash or credit once you get there. So, that's a little bit of a nuisance right there. Okay. So that is it for the reasons. And actually there's one more, and I promised all of you, and I will share this with you. It's one of the best things about booking through a cruise line. And you can get onboard credit. I know I mentioned this to Amy McConnell, who's watching. She made a comment on this not too long ago. And yeah, you can get some free onboard credit for booking through the cruise line if that's what you wanted to do anyway, with just a tiny bit of research. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I got all this free money to spend on the cruise. Thank you, Coach Cruise. I didn't even know about this. But I'm going to share that in just a little bit. But let me go through the comments here and make sure I didn't miss anything. And by the way, I see, so when you do a super chat, the super chat sits on top, and I think it does on yours too. It'll sit on top for a while, and then eventually it'll disappear unless it was your top super chat. So I'm seeing Sherry's up there, and thank you again for that, Sherry. And Chris Moss, not one but 2 super chats on the same drawing there. and the Texas Cruiser for getting us started today. And I think in CLTV, who's on the For Fun's Sakes crew, I'm missing CLTV, Controversial Cruising, Carnival Cruise Addicts. We hope they're having a great time. And by the way, if you didn't know, I hope I'm not giving anything away here. I don't think I am. I think this was shared. For those of you that follow Carnival Cruise Addicts, I think they shared this. I hope they didn't just share it with me, but they had a big win in the casino. That's all I'll say. They had a big win in the casino. Chris did. So they did. And yeah, I'm sure they'll tell you all about it if they haven't already on their Facebook page. But they're excited about that, as they should. I still haven't heard many stories yet about John Heald, so I'll be waiting to hear from all of our, friend, fam, content creator friends to hear what that's all about. And we are going to do a Carnival Magic show probably in 2 weeks where we review their experience on the Carnival Magic, what they liked about it, didn't like about it, and preview the Magic for an upcoming cruise that we have some people watching today are going to go. We have at least 3 people watching. I know PJ, Amy, Aaron, in July, and myself, we're all going to be on the Carnival Magic. And Sherry had even asked about that. So maybe Sherry and Jay as well. And if anybody else wants to, join, July 6th, Carnival Magic out of Miami. It has some good ports. So, yeah, let's get to this. All right. I do a little bit of both. All right. So Chris does a little bit of both. So that's kind of like me, either through the cruise line or an outside vendor. Ben says, Coach, do you get better quality excursions through the cruise line? And you know what? I'm going to get into that discussion once we give the reasons why people like to book with an outside vendor and why I like to book with an outside vendor a lot of times. And that was Ben's question there. So let me put that up. All right. Chris says, oftentimes they use the same vendors, and that can be true. Yeah, that can be true. Absolutely. Michelle B., I want to rent a golf cart at Grand Turk and remember to drive on the wrong side of the road. Oh, I think you're saying you did do that. Yeah, and that's the thing about driving in different countries or different islands or whatever. We don't always know the road rules, right? And we figure that out the hard way sometimes. But usually in a golf cart, you're going to be safe. All right. Oh, Cruise Life TV is here. And they say, hello from dinner on board the Carnival Mag. Just finished our filet mignon and now digging into our Grand Marnier soufflé. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So another question here by Ben. Cruise line reviews and approves the vendors. So the cruise line, yeah, they work with the vendors, and the cruise line gets a cut of the vendors, entry or whatever. So if you pay, say, $100 to go on a particular excursion, you can bank that the cruise line's probably getting close to half of that. I don't know the exact percentage, but Cruise Life TV says, yes, a big win and a special happy pre-birthday. Oh, thank you. Yes, it is my birthday this week. So thank you very much. Liz obviously just had a birthday with Carnival Cruise Addicts. So yeah, I'm getting older on Thursday. Until then, I'm getting younger, but I get older on Thursday this week. So Cruise Life TV says we'll be running a golf cart in Grand Turk on Thursday. Okay, very cool. Michelle, the Ship Wanderer, will be on the Magic March 30th, and I heard Jake will be our cruise director. I hope that's true. Yeah, Jake is good. I really liked Jake. Trisha, thank you for that. She says happy early birthday, and appreciate that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You gotta look forward to all of them, right? So looking forward to this one, and we'll go from there. All right. So why should you or would you book with an outside vendor, especially when we gave all those compelling reasons why you should book with the cruise line? All right. The first and most obvious one why you would book with an outside vendor is because you can save money. All right. Um, Amber Cove waterfall excursion. Here's a couple reasons why I would book with an outside vendor for that particular excursion. For one, do they offer it through Carnival? Yes, they do. And at last check, it was somewhere around $120 per person for an adult. Now, you can get that same excursion through outside vendors for as low as around $70. Same experience, same amount of time, same everything. You even wear the same life vest and helmets, and you go to the same location, use the same lockers. Everything's the same. One's just under the Carnival umbrella, and several others are with outside vendors. Now, when I booked through the outside vendor, I booked through an outside vendor called shoreexcursioneer.com. Never had a single problem with them. If your ship doesn't make it into port, you get your money back. If you're, for any reason, your ship gives, if you don't make it into port, you get your money back. Basically, if you cancel within 24 hours, you get your money back. I mean, they list a whole bunch of reasons they give you money back, and they give you like 3 pages worth of instructions how to meet up, what you should wear. If there's a problem, call this number. Everything very thorough. A great outside vendor, and they're like Expedia or any of these other companies. They work with the vendors, communicate with them, and then the vendors in turn give them a cut for each person that books through them. And they want to make sure that you have a good experience, because obviously they want somebody like me saying, hey, yeah, never had a problem with them. They're really good. And then, you go and check them out. So they need that type of review. And so they strive to do a good job. As soon as they start getting some reviews like, oh, yeah, this was terrible, we got left, we lost all our money on this excursion, everything else like that, then nobody's going to book with them. So that's why, some of these excursion companies and vendors, really do a good job. All right. So you're going to save a lot of money. All right. Not to mention, when you book through the cruise line, you have, say, maybe 6,000 people potentially looking at that same excursion. And guess what? They usually fill up or sell out or come close to it. So if you're going on a catamaran, for example, that holds 120 people, guess how many people you're going to be riding with? 119 other people, right? And you're going to be crammed in. And let's say you wanted shade. Well, too bad. You weren't one of the first 30 people on the boat. So you're going to be sitting smack dab in the sun, right? And, whether you're next to a screaming little kid or, next to somebody you don't want to be sitting next to, that's just the way it is. If you book with an outside vendor, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get on, say, a catamaran that has a lot of room and ample seating for wherever you want to sit. But the chances are, since they're not catering to 6,000 people, they might be catering to a few hundred that were looking for an outside vendor, that offered that type of experience and maybe save a few bucks. Those are the people that they're catering to. So chances are you're going to get a catamaran that has, a lot of space to move around, and you might get some better amenities. Instead of the cheap rum punch, you might be getting a nice open bar and, a higher quality lunch than the bologna sandwiches or what do they serve when they promise you lunch on some of the cruise line excursions, right? So that's one of the reasons. All right, different trips. Now, there are simply the cruise lines, much as they try to offer you a lot of great excursions, there's simply some trips that they can't offer you for whatever reason. Maybe they don't have enough vendors or, vendors that can cater to the amount of people that they want to serve, or the vendors are like, yeah, you want us to give you how much money to work with you to, get your business? Yeah, no, we do fine on our own. We'll just keep running our own shop. Thanks. Right. So Roatan in Honduras, for example, Little French Key, one of the most popular excursions you can get. Does Carnival book that? No, they don't. They have a knockoff version that's not near as good, just on the other side. And, people, always say like, oh, I wish we wouldn't have gone here. I wish we'd have gone to Little French Key. That book that I think it's the Big French Key or something like that. But Little French Key, they have such a solid reputation and people love it so much that people just keep going back there over and over and over again. Right. And you can't book that through Carnival. So if you want a different experience, there are certain excursions and certain things that you can only do if you go with an outside vendor. So if you don't do your research and you don't go outside the cruise line, you're simply going to miss out on some of those experiences. Some of those are great experiences that you don't want to miss. For example, in Cozumel, there's nothing wrong with going to Mr. Sancho's or Paradise Beach or any of these all-inclusives that you can go to. I've done it many times and I have a fabulous time every time. If I went once a week, every week for the rest of my life, it'd probably be cool. It's a great time. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to do something different, and I have seen this offered by Carnival a couple times, not very often, but El Cielo, I always tell everybody about it. And anybody that's ever taken my advice has been like, oh my God, we went to that. And thank you, thank you, thank you. It is this absolutely beautiful sandbar, off the coast of Cozumel somewhere. And you're standing in every which direction you look for hundreds and hundreds of yards. It's crystal clear, like waist deep water. You'll see stingrays swimming by. So all these little boats they put, I call it the world's most beautiful tailgate. And, all these little boats pull up and the captains of these little boats will be making, fresh ceviche, guacamole, chips, everything. And they're serving you tequila and beers and margaritas and everything. And then, blasting music and everybody's just kind of having a party out in the water for a couple hours and just having the time of your life. Right. And so if Cozumel, which is one of the most frequented destinations for cruise ships, if you've done the same things over and over again, you want a different experience, you got to go with an outside vendor. You got to go go somewhere different that you hadn't tried before and, go somewhere like El Cielo, right? And you'll just have a fabulous time. And look at this. We have Michelle B., the ship wanderer. Happy birthday. Let's do a shot. Come on back for a treat, Zoe. Zoe, you hear that? You got a treat coming. So since we gave her 2 pup cups, we will hook her up. You want a regular treat this time? So high five from Michelle. Hello, Zoe. She's out of it today. She's trying to destroy the show. And what do you say? She says thank you. Okay. She got it back together. I tell you, she's between trying to knock over all the video equipment and lights and making all kinds of noise. She's got everything going on. Michelle, thank you very much. And we are going to do just that. Birthday shot from Michelle. And Michelle, thank you for getting us going on our next t-shirt drawing. And you are numbers 1 through 15. Okay, 1 through 15. Happy. Oh, wait, I did not put your thing up there. That was rude of me. And look, Michelle's got a dog. What is your dog's name? Michelle, I see your dog in the sand there. That's a good place to be. But thank you again for the shot. And there we go. All right. So we talked about the different trips. And yeah, there's just different excursions and things that you're going to be able to do that you can't do on other, through the cruise line, right? Belize, for example, I have seen this offered, but it hasn't always been offered. But for a while, they have this trip that you need to take a water taxi up to a little place called Caye Caulker. And to get there, like I tell you, it takes about a 45-minute, and you have to go outside the port, walk a couple blocks, take this water taxi. And then once you get there, get with an outside vendor, and they took you to this place called Shark Ray Alley, which has all these nurse sharks that swim in their natural habitat. And they are sharks, but they're not the sharks. They look more like catfish, little mouths. So they can't really, I guess they could break the skin, of your of your arm or something like that if they really wanted to get after you. But they really don't mess with humans. They're just eating like small fish and things like that. But you can swim with them, and it's one of the coolest experiences because it is intimidating when you pull up and you see those shark fins going through the water, and you're like, do I really know this is a nurse shark? But once you get over that little bit of a fear, it's an adrenaline rush to kind of be swimming around with these nurse sharks and then stingrays and all this other kind of stuff. So that's cool. And that was something that Carnival did not offer. And like I say, once in a while they've offered it, but not all the time. And that's a great experience that you wouldn't get. Now, I kind of mentioned this, discussing it a little bit, but the less crowded a lot of these excursions are, because you don't have 6,000 people booking this and then literally jamming you in there like sardines to make every little dollar they can, to offset what Carnival is taking from them, or the cruise line is taking them from them for booking through them. More amenities, like I say, more amenities might simply mean, a better quality experience in terms of, your open bar, rather than having really cheap rum punch and just, a couple different varieties of beer. You might get, some higher end bars, and then a nice quality, authentic lunch, that's not just, some cold cuts and bread, just to fill you the void. And then the other thing too is you're supporting a local company, maybe a local family, more so than a bigger company that's raking in money off doing this over and over and over for the cruise lines. So that's something to think of as well. All right, Bone Tired Travelers, what's going on? And Roscoe is the dog. Well, Roscoe is a cutie, Michelle, and thank you once again for that super chat. Did Z check in? How do I keep missing Z? There he is. Z's Gaming and Home Theater. Good evening, Coach, and good to see you, Z, as always. I know that you've been going through the health hurdles, and so I hope you're jumping over them just fine now. And Bone Tired Travelers, great to see you as well. And okay, so I told you I was going to give you this, and I've said this before, so some of you, this is not new, but anybody that tuned in or is watching this on replay for this little bit of information that I promised, here's the thing. If you are dead set on booking through the cruise line, what you can do, and I'm going to use that Amber Cove excursion example, because that one is one that I've saved a bunch of money on. That waterfall excursion through Carnival. And the other reason I forgot to tell you about, I don't know, I think there was an incident where somebody got hurt or whatever, and maybe they threatened to sue Carnival. Now, until, I hear differently, Carnival only allows you to slide down the slides on the waterfall and doesn't allow you to jump off of the waterfall like all the other outside vendors do. So if you have this vision of, I want to jump off the waterfalls or whatever, and you book through Carnival, you're not going to do it. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And, through an outside vendor, you do get to jump off the waterfalls, right? But through Carnival, they're going to make you slide down this little slide. You're not going to get that super big adrenaline rush that you might otherwise get. So yeah, that's something you got going for you there. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the price through Carnival might be something like $110, $120, whereas you could get it for about $80 through the outside vendor. So let's just take that for example, $80 and $120. That's a $40 difference per person. So let's say you're going with a family of four. You got some teenage kids and two adults, and you're looking at $480 for, a family of four to go on an excursion together. That's a lot of money, $480. All right. And if you booked with that outside vendor, $80 times 4 is obviously $320. So that's $160. But then you might be saying, somebody in that family might be saying, I don't care. I'll pay the $160 extra because I want to be sure. I want to know that the ship's not going to leave us, that if anything goes wrong, the cruise line has our back. Gotcha. You're going to get $176 in onboard credit by doing what I'm about to tell you right now. Carnival and most all the other cruise lines, all the other big cruise lines have this same deal. They have a shore excursion guarantee, which is another way to entice you to think that all of their excursions are cheap and you're getting just as good a deal by booking through them, which is not the case. You're almost always paying more. So that waterfall excursion, keep in mind, you're going to have to slide down and not jump off. That to me alone would be worth booking with the outside vendor. But if that part doesn't bother you, you can get $176 onboard credit. What you do is you go ahead and buy through the cruise line, and then you look up their shore excursion guarantee form on their website, and they have, an online form, and you'll have to fill out the information. Basically, what they'll ask you is, did you find another, excursion that is comparable to the excursion that you booked with Carnival, and what's the price of it? And they'll ask you for the URL or, the website address of where you can get this excursion and the cost and everything else. So if it's a $40 difference, they give you 110% back of whatever the difference is. So the case I just mentioned, it's a $40 difference. So you're going to get $44 back, or that'd only be 10%. 160. So that would be, I'm having to do math now. So it's 160, 160, $160 difference. So then I don't know. It's like, it'll be, now I'm getting confused. If it's 160, you'll get 160 plus 10%. So 176. That's what it is. $176 you would get back in onboard credit because it's 110%. So it's 160 and then 10% of the 160 would be 16. So $176 in onboard credit, because they would look and they would see the difference. And they would say, okay, yeah, here's this waterfall excursion. It's going for the same amount of time. You're doing the same thing, everything else like that. So since you booked with us, here's your shore excursion guarantee. Here is $176 in onboard credit. And guess what? You are still going through the cruise line, and you just got $176 for free. And you can go use that at the steakhouse, or go to the shops and use that, spend that money, go buy some booze, whatever the case may be. And that's how you get that extra money. And you can do that with anything. If you book a catamaran snorkeling excursion anywhere, go to that same, go on Google, and let's say it's in Cozumel, and you book a catamaran through Carnival and it costs you $100, and you find a almost identical one that costs $70 through some other company in Cozumel. You send them, like I say, the website information, everything, fill out the form. It's a $30 difference. Family of 4, that's $120 plus the extra $12 for the 110%. That's $132 onboard credit you get, and you're still going with Carnival. So I hope that helps some people out. Yeah, Chris says, and that's a good point too. The only time you are stuck with cruise line only excursions on their private islands. And I've heard a lot of people complaining about Carnival in their new private island, the Celebration Key. And don't get me wrong, I'm very excited to go. It's one of the ports that I'm looking forward to this summer. July 27th, I'll be on the horizon. One of the stops there is Celebration Key. And I'm going to be excited to be one of the first people there. I mean, there'll be several people who have gone there before at that point, but this summer is when it opens up, so it's still going to be brand new. But so many people have been asking, like they're charging for every extra thing. Like, for example, if you buy Cheers, Royal Caribbean, when you go to Coco Cay, your alcohol, if you have the alcohol package on the ship, you're going to Coco Cay. Well, that's a Royal owned island. You get alcohol for free. And you would say, okay, yeah, that makes sense because, it's a Royal island. Well, Carnival is saying, yeah, we don't care. if you buy the Cheers package. We don't care that you get 15 drinks. You want to drink on this island, you're going to be paying for it. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I just bought the Cheers package and you guys, this is your island. Like, why am I paying twice? So, they say they want you to be responsible and everything, but you can drink 15 drinks on the ship and then you can go get sloshed on their drinks on the island. Now, some people are saying they're still going to keep track of that 15, which doesn't make sense to me, because if you pay for, let's say, 10 drinks on Celebration Key, then after you have 5 drinks on the ship, when you get back, they're going to say, oh, you're cut off. You had your 15, but I paid for those 10 on the island. So I don't think that's true. I think what's going to end up happening is, some people are going to be like, okay, I still got 15 drinks. I'm not going to let them go to waste. And you're going to get some very drunk folks doing some very drunk, dumb things on the ship. And it's kind of like, well, you built this animal, Carnival, by, not allowing people to use their drink package on the island. So careful how bad you go after that money, right? So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, and Amy is saying, seriously, that's poopy if they do that. Yeah, it definitely is. And a lot of people have complained about it. And I don't know, maybe it's something they change in the future, but I'm sure they spent a couple $billion on this island, and they're probably trying to recoup their profits as fast as they humanly possibly can. And yeah, they're just going to see, like, okay, they're going to figure out what the customers were willing to put up with, and if enough customers are not buying the product and not spending the money and everything, maybe it's something they'll explore later on. But at least initially, they're going to be charging you in both places, both on the ship and off the ship for yeah. Amy says, definitely poopy. Absolutely. All right. Well, we are getting down to these last 10 minutes. Let me take a drink here because I've just been rambling and rambling. I do want to go over some of the future things that we have coming up. As I mentioned, I talked with Cruise Life TV, Carnival Cruise Addicts today, and Controversial Cruising, but they usually have work going on Tuesdays, so they usually can't join us. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the plan is to have a show about the Carnival Magic, which I know some of you have gone on and you're very happy with. And for those of you that are interested in cruising out of Miami, that is usually where it cruises out of. And it is a really good ship. I know several of you on here have been on the Carnival Magic and enjoyed it. And I will be going on that one. I know Amy's going on that. Aaron, PJ, who was on there just a little while ago. I don't know if he still is. But yeah, we're all doing that one right after the 4th of July. And I think there's probably a couple other coach cruisers out there that are doing that one. So we could have a big bar crawl and have a lot of fun. So if anybody's not doing anything or looking at a particular cruise, that might be one you're interested in early in July. So we'll be talking about that in a couple weeks on the show. A show that I am super pumped about. I mentioned it to you a couple weeks ago, or last week probably also, but Cookie is coming back. And when I say coming back, I mean he's coming back to Coach Cruise. I don't know when or if he's coming back to cruising, but I'm sure he'll give us some insight on that information on March 18th. That will be just 3 days before I travel to Houston to go out of Galveston on the Carnival Jubilee, but 4 days before the actual cruise. So I'm super excited about that particular show coming up here. And well, it's less than a month now, right? As it is the 18th today, and that is March 18th. So exactly 1 month from today. So we'll be excited to bring that one to you. And the cruise itself is going to Roatan. And in Roatan, there's Little French Key, which I mentioned, which is a wonderful excursion. Some popular things to do in Roatan. They have a lot of the little zoo animal type sanctuaries and stuff. So, you can hold a sloth, for example, and learn all about them. And, they're cute little critters, and monkeys that'll, you go in the cages and they jump all over you and jump on your head and try to steal your keys and everything. So they make you empty your pockets before you go in there, because they like to grab anything and everything and take it with them. So you got to be careful about what you bring in there. And so, yeah, that's a cool thing. And then one of my favorites is West Bay Beach. That's way on the other side of the island. It's a huge public beach, but it's just a massive beach. A lot of resorts facing it and things like that. But that's where I'll be going on my particular cruise, on the Jubilee. Costa Maya have an all-inclusive beach plan that has really good reviews. That will be a new excursion for me, a new company that I've gone through. So we'll see what that's all about. But one thing I will say that it was a selling point is this particular all-inclusive beach includes a massage. How many all-inclusive beaches have enticed you by saying, we got your food covered, we got your drinks covered, we got your chairs, we got your umbrella, and we're going to give you a 30-minute massage too. So yeah, that's part of the excursion package in Costa Maya. So looking forward to that. And then the final one is Cozumel, as I was just talking about. El Cielo. I mentioned this person before, and they're in a few of my videos from when I've gone to Cozumel, but Meg, Scuba Meg, as I call her, she is a dive master down in Cozumel, but she's hooked up and hung out with me a few times. And yeah, so that's going to be a fun trip. I know Aaron is going to be on that trip as well. And we got some other Coach Cruise fam going on the Carnival Jubilee next month. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but looking forward to that. And El Cielo, I'm telling you, those of you that have gone on to Cozumel and never checked out El Cielo, go on YouTube and look up El Cielo and just see how beautiful it is. And I can even, if you send me some private messages, send you a couple videos that I took. And that's, I did a couple videos from El Cielo, from a couple years back. You could even look those up, but it is absolutely beautiful if you haven't been there. All right, let's go through the comments here one more time, and then I think it's about time to wrap things up. Shane is here, says, good evening, Coach. Sorry I'm late. Had some things at work. Hey, I'm glad you made it. Bone Tired Travelers, love the sloths and monkeys excursion. Yeah, that is a fun excursion to go to. Bone Tired Travelers, we go to Maya Chan in Costa Maya. And yeah, the massage is included. I'm going to have to look that up. And by the way, speaking of outside vendors, I did book that through Shore Excursioneer. I'm going to have to look up the name of that place. And sounds really good. And the reviews that it's had has been really good. So we'll see. We'll see. Texas Cruiser says we stay on the ship more now while in ports. We enjoy that time. Yeah, and you know what? I've stayed on the ship in a few ports. I know, what's the one that I don't really care for? Well, San Juan I've been to several times. There's been a couple times I've stayed on in San Juan. And La Romana. That's it. La Romana. There is one really good excursion out of La Romana, a company called Seavis Tours or whatever. But I'd been on that like 3 different times. So last time I was to La Romana, didn't even go anywhere. Stayed in port there. They got a free pool, much like they have in Amber Cove. And Amber Cove, honestly, getting a little tired of going there. It seemed like every cruise I went on last year went to Amber Cove. And I know I'm happy just to be on a cruise, so I don't mean to put it that way. But yeah, I could do without Amber Cove for a while. So those are a couple of the ports that, I don't need to go back to for any time soon. Let's see here. We're doing Melicon 21 and Costa Maya. Maya Chan was booked. Okay. Colton Nix, I'm going on the Carnival Horizon on Sunday. Haven't booked excursions yet. Going to Ocho Rios, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel. Yeah, that's a good itinerary. I like that one. Texas Cruiser, the transformation from a banana warehouse to a modern cruise terminal is crazy. is going to be top notch. Yeah, that sounds like it. And Kalranix, that is my favorite itinerary. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, we have just hit the hour mark, and this seemed like a kind of frantic hour here. But I want to thank everybody that has jumped in on the comments. We had quite a few comments tonight. I want to thank everybody again for the super chats. We had Cruise Life TV, Chris Moss, the Texas Cruises, Sherry and Jay, Chris Moss's second time, and Michelle B. Thank you for the super chat. Zoe appreciates the super chats. And we will be back next week with another show. Looking forward to it as always. And thank you all for watching. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you didn't already hit the like button today for the show, I appreciate you do that on your way out. And thank you, everybody. And we will see you all later. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Peace.